Welcome back, everybody. I am DJ Riley, one of the hosts on Boys on the Bench. And in this video, I am going to be giving you 4 NBA picks and 1 NFL special as we are looking for that 10 times multiplier on PrizePicks. But before we jump into those picks, looking back over yesterday's, it was absolutely brutal. Started with Nikola Jokic. The Joker got 26 out of the 26.5 points that we needed, giving us the hook for that performance. He only had 6 points at halftime. I didn't understand it because Philadelphia was out of all of their superstars, no Embiid, no Maxey, no Tobias Harris, and they just were not feeding Jokic from the very beginning. But then second half came around, they realized that they needed to be serious. He ended up getting only 20 points, giving us 26 there. Giannis, Damian, and Kawhi all played games where they were blowouts, but they did give us the less for that thing. Taurean Prince, on the other hand, just played an absolutely awful game. This game went into overtime, and he still could not get a single point. He only played 24 minutes, got himself into foul trouble, committing a lot of turnovers, really just being lazy all around. So very poor performance from him. But nonetheless, we did hit that 0.4 multiplier. So we didn't win all of our money back, but we did win a little bit there. Also, before we jump into this, make sure y'all are checking the links in the description because all of these plays are being posted on X, and I am getting a lot of my inspiration from these picks from Daily Grind Fantasy. That link is also in the description there. Guys, make sure you are checking that out because they are printing these slips like crazy. And again, I have won a lot of money just betting on League of Legends. I have not watched League of Legends, but what Daily Grind Fantasy is they're giving you the best bets for League of Legends and all of these esports. And really, I am just listening to them, putting them in a slip, and never really thinking twice about it. But anyways, let's go ahead and jump into these 4 NBA bets and 1 NFL special. First on this list is DeMar DeRozan going under 30.5 points plus assists versus this Portland Trailblazers team. They currently don't have any history playing together this season, but if we look at what positive EV we're getting from Daily Grind Fantasy, they are giving us a 50.4% chance of hitting with an average juice of minus 119. We do see a couple books who are juicing this a little bit more than others with the minus 125 and minus 129, which is a good sign for this under to hit. Now, if we look at the recent performances that he's had in his last 5 and last 10 matchups, he has hit the under in 4 out of his last 5 and 8 out of his last 10. Now, if we also look throughout the entire season, out of the 44 possible games that he's played in this season, the under is hit in 32 out of those games. That is 76% of the time that he is hitting the under for this line. Now, his teammate Patrick Williams is expected to miss this game with an injury, and in games without Patrick Williams, he has hit the under in all 3 out of those games this year. He has had an average of 18.7 points plus assist. Now, if we look at the matchup versus Portland, how they do against the small forward position, they allow the 10th least amount of points plus assists to the small forward position. So again, Portland is very good against small forwards. And DeMar DeRozan has done an awful job without Patrick Williams and really hasn't hit this line a whole lot. Only hit this line 12 out of the 44 times. Is the over 12 out of the 44 times? Not great. So definitely living with the under here for DeMar DeRozan. But let's stay with his teammate. Moving on to the next pick, and that's Kobe White. On the other hand, going over 27.5 points plus rebounds versus this Portland Trailblazers team. Again, no head-to-head history between these two teams this season, but we're looking at positive EV and what Daily Grind Fantasy is giving us. They're giving us a 53.1% chance of hitting with an average line of minus 134. This is very good, really good odds for terms of positive EV. Again, we want that around 54%. 53% is good here for Daily Grind Fantasy. We also see that one book is offering this at a whole point more, indicating that this is likely to go over. So that's really what we like. And that's what Daily Grind Fantasy is all compiling all together, what all of these books are saying, what their average juice lines are, if books are predicting this higher or not. So again, 53.1% is pretty good. Looking at recent performances of last 5 and last 10, he has hit this in 3 out of his last 5 and 7 out of his last 10. Also going back to his last 15, he's also hit 9 out of his last 15. Also, what I really like for Kobe White doing the point plus rebounds here is Kobe White has been very dominant crashing the boards here recently. He's had 2 offensive rebounds in each of his last 3 games, and he's had an average of 8.3 rebounds per game over that stretch as well. Looking at Portland, they allow the sixth most rebounds in the NBA this season. So they're not good at defending the rebounds, and Kobe White has been doing a very good job at getting rebounds here recently. So his rebound line does look good at 5.5. Is very enticing to take, but I have been burned way too many times by taking the guard's rebound line, and it just does not work out for me. So I really like him scoring points here as well. So I like the points plus rebounds combination. Looking at how Portland does versus the point guard position, points plus rebounds, they allow the 11th most in the NBA this year to the point guards. But let's go ahead and move on to the next pick, and that's another point guard. That's Cade Cunningham going over 10.5 rebounds plus assists versus the Oklahoma City Thunder. They do have a 1-game history this year. In that game, Cade Cunningham only had 7 rebounds plus assists in that game, so definitely would not have hit the under, did not even really come close to the over. Now, looking at what Daily Grind Fantasy is giving us, they are giving us pretty good positive EV value here at 53.4% chance of hitting with an average juice of minus 136. So again, another solid play here in terms of positive EV from Daily Grind Fantasy. Recent performances of the last 5 and last 10, he has hit this over in 3 out of his last 5 and 7 out of his last 10. Also 10 out of his last 15, 67% over his last 15 games. Now, where he really does a good job are these home games. He has now hit this line in 8 straight home games with an average of 15.1 rebounds plus assists in those games. Currently, Oklahoma City allows the 7th most rebounds and 12th most assists in all of the NBA. To the point guard position, they allow the 13th most rebounds plus assists. So again, looking at how Oklahoma City is versus rebounds and assists and how Cade Cunningham performs at home and really even in his last 10 outside of home games, he has been very dominant. Plus, Daily Grind Fantasy is giving us very good odds here. So make sure you're jumping on this before they start to bump up Cade Cunningham's numbers to maybe even 11. Anyways, let's go ahead and move on to our last NBA pick, and we're staying in the same game, but opposite side of the ball. But that's Luguentz Dort going over 1.5 3-pointers made versus this Detroit Pistons team. Again, 1-game history versus Detroit. In that game, he did shoot four 3-point attempts, but only made 1 of them, giving us the under in that and not hitting this line. Looking at what Daily Grind Fantasy is giving us for positive EV, they're giving us a 53.5% chance of hitting with an average juice of minus 133. So again, another play really close to 54%. So really liking that there as well. Now, looking at his recent performances of the last 5, last 10, he has hit this over in 2 out of his last 5 and 6 out of his last 10. Even going back to his last 15, he has hit this over in 9 out of his last 15. So we can tell last 10, last 15, pretty well. His last 5, not so much. He hasn't hit it in his last 3. So he is going on a little bit of a cold stretch. And the last time we saw him go on a 3-game stretch of not hitting at least 2 3-point attempts, it was followed by 6 straight games of at least 2 3-pointers made in those games. Detroit now does not allow a ton of 3-point attempts. Currently, they allow the 8th least in all of the NBA. But when teams do shoot 3-pointers against them, they are hitting at a high mark, 38%, which is the 5th most in all the NBA. Now, Detroit versus small forwards, 3-pointers made, again, they allow the 9th least. They don't allow a lot of 3-point attempts, but again, when they shoot them, they do. Right now, Dort is going on a bit of a cold stretch, but we know how effective of a shooter he is. And again, I think we're really just asking for 2 here. Hit 9 out of his last 15. So hoping that we can continue to build on that. He can get back on track with just hitting 2 3-pointers today. Anyways, those are my NBA picks. And this is my last pick, and it's just adding that NFL special of Christian McCaffrey going over 0.5 rush yards. So really, only thing we have to worry about today are these NBA picks, these 4 NBA picks that I have here, looking for this 10 times multiplier. Also, before you check out, make sure you're subscribing to this channel, liking it, turning on that notification bell because these videos are coming out daily. Anyways, Best of luck to everybody, and let's have a great Sunday. See you next time.